from eumom, and I'm here with Melna from Pilates. Hi Melna.
Hi, how are you?
Very good, thanks for your time. Melna is the owner and runner of Platinum Pilates here in Stillorgan, which is platinumpilates.ie. Now Melna, you are a mum of three.
Yes, that's right.
And you stand over Platinum Pilates, and Pilates being a great thing to do before and during and after.
And afterwards, absolutely, yeah. I mean, I practiced it with all my three girls all the way through, and you know, the benefits of Pilates, not just reformer Pilates, but any kind of Pilates, it really, there's a lot of focus on breath, on strengthening up core muscles, flexibility, pelvic floor, all the areas that get weak in the body during pregnancy, during the labour, and then when it comes time then to, you know, getting body back in shape afterwards. So there's a huge amount of conditioning and work on those areas, and that's why it tends to work really, really well.
And you can do it all the way up?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, the rule of thumb with any exercise is that you shouldn't really start anything new, so you shouldn't take up running if you haven't been running before, or you shouldn't take up aerobics. However, with Pilates, especially specific antenatal Pilates, that's something that you can take up. And so, because it's very gentle, it's low impact, it's only going to enhance the body and enhance all of the changes that are happening in the body. The hormones are going to affect the body anyway, and there's nothing that you can do to kind of stop that. And so the exercises and the different techniques in Pilates will enhance all of that and make sure that the lower back doesn't feel sore, and that there's, you know, not too much hip pain or pelvic pain.
Brilliant. And we have Elaine here, and Elaine is going to, with Melna, go through some moves that anybody can do when they're pregnant. As you can see, Elaine looks fabulous, and how pregnant are you, Elaine?
37 weeks.
Okay, so she can do it in the 37 weeks. Okay, well, let's have a look.
Super. So we're going to start Elaine here in kneeling, and we're going to just work through a really nice exercise for posture. So we're going to start off, she's going to gently just lengthen out. So working through this movement, there's a lot of control and a lot of core control, and she's working with breath to really keep her in a nice stable and controlled position. But as you can see, there's no impact. She's opening up the chest as she's releasing down through the arms. She's not taking any tension in through the shoulders. And what you can't see is Elaine will be working on a gentle pelvic tilt that we teach in Pilates, where she's tilting the pelvis forward slightly. And that's creating a really nice cradle through the lumbar spine and into the lower pelvis, which is where the pressure is coming down from the pregnancy. Good. And then from here, we're going to change Elaine. So Elaine will have her back turned to you now. We're going to take her around facing in the opposite direction. And we're going to work through the reverse muscles. And so one of the really nice things with Pilates is that we create real balance through the body. So we work through in terms of both sides of the body. So whenever you're ready, then you can start pressing in. So generally, what we find during pregnancy is that a lot of people get very, very tight and tired through the posterior muscles, the muscles through the shoulders and through the neck. And because generally the breasts are starting to get bigger, we've got the weight of the baby, the whole posture is drawn forward. So on this exercise, we're working on opening up the spine and creating real length across the shoulders. And again, as you can see, it's another one of those exercises. It's very gentle, it's very controlled, and everything is done in a very supported environment. Okay, so we work the whole body in Pilates, in any kind of Pilates that you're doing, especially antenatal, we work both the upper body and the lower body. So the next exercise that we're going to take Elaine into works predominantly on the legs and the lower body and in and around onto the pelvis. I'm just going to change the spring resistance here because that allows us to be able to work a little more support. So Elaine is going to come into what we call leg slide. So just taking your right leg to the front of the foot plate and then the left leg coming back against the shoulder post. Lifting up onto the toes, so you're balancing up. And then when you're ready, you're just lengthening out. So Elaine is working very much into the muscles that are coming up the back of the legs and attaching into the pelvis. And again, as we were talking about earlier, during pregnancy, the hormone relaxin plays a real, it impacts the pelvis massively, and it creates looseness and openness through the pelvis. And so what we want to make sure is that we're creating length and flexibility in the muscles and the tendons around the pelvis without causing any kind of overstretching. Obviously during the delivery as well, you need to have an element in terms of the legs and being able to have that flexibility through. So this again, there's no impact, there's no stress, it's very gentle, and she's really working on her breath. From there we're going to go into one more exercise where we're coming in, she's going to gently just bend the knee and she's going to drop down into an extended lunge position. So she's going to lengthen back. Now on this movement, anterior line. So she's working out through the pelvis and the movement into the hip here. Now again, if you talk about the changes that happen in the body because of the weight of the baby coming to the front, most people have a gentle anterior tilt through the body, and dependent on how strong they are beforehand, it will depend on the severity of this tilt. And so this movement is allowing us to be able to open the hips and create length through the front of the pelvis, and especially into the hip flexors, so that there's no shortening. And a lot of women suffer from lower back pain during pregnancy, and this particular muscle is one of the major causes of it. So when the hip flexors are tight, it really impacts on the lower back. So we can see that there's a real openness through the body around the front there.
Brilliant.
Perfect.
Okay, thanks very much indeed.
All right.